What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Elevator Life.
Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good week. It's hump day over here in China. I'm not feeling too well, so if you hear me cough at all during the episode, please forgive me.
Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon that starts around summertime, springtime. It's called Kong Tiao Gam Mao. It's like, I get them all the time. I don't know if it's what he has now, but it's an air conditioning cold because it's so hot outside, and then we have it so cold inside. It's just the adjustment in temperature. Your body really never fluctuates or catches up as it's supposed to, and that results in a long-term cold, pretty much, which isn't good. But hump day for us, indeed, it's Wednesday. We don't really have hump days, but for a lot of people it is. And you see, got a nice new photo up there, something inspirational. I think it really brings a lot to the apartment. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. We framed out our apartment with all cool pictures of our businesses, guys. I think that's a cool idea for other entrepreneurs to think about doing because it's a cool reminder of what you're actually building.
Exactly. And then at the end of the hall, we have our dream, right? We also get to have one of those and see those up hanging in a frame just to keep you a constant reminder whenever you see it.
Also, the Canton Fair is going on. It's really busy this year compared to the last one, which is extremely cool to see. A lot of cool new products. And we're going back tomorrow, so we're excited about that. Yeah,
definitely. But today what we want to get started on is based off of articles that I read today and he read a few days ago. We kind of mashed them together. And it's just about the 7 essential traits an international entrepreneur needs to have to succeed.
True. International entrepreneurship is a really different beast than normal entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. Not only do you have to wither through the ups and downs of your business, you also have to put up with the different cultural aspects that are obviously intertwined with your daily life now.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I mean, you said it perfectly. It's really different comparing it to when you're trying to start a business in your home country compared to just kind of picking up and trying to seek out new opportunities in different parts of the globe that you're not familiar with. And it can definitely, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons to it, but we're going to go through the traits we think are necessary that you need to have to be successful.
Yeah, what was interesting, guys, was last night we were at a dinner with 8 or 10 people. Yeah. Okay. And the businesses range from selling watches like Ryan to a guy who brews beer here to us who distribute wine to who else was there?
An app developer, yeah. Restaurant owner, bar owner, school owner, and there's 4 or 5 countries represented at this table. So really big mix and a big diversity. But we're going to jump into it and just talk about how there's like a cohesiveness between us. There's a resonation between all of us, even though we're doing separate things. We still, all get along together and see eye to eye.
Everyone's so different. Everyone brings different things to the table. Everyone's into different kinds of businesses. But there are traits that everybody and all of us share. Yeah. And that's what we want to run through today.
Yeah, exactly. So do you want to start?
Yeah, let's start. First off, you got to be extremely self-motivating. Okay? More than any other kind of business, you're going to be in another country, a little isolated. You're going to have people, your friends and family telling you, what are you doing? Do you want to come home? You've got to be the one that can see your goal, that can push yourself, get yourself out of bed in the morning, and make sure you're the one pushing yourself forward. Because, to be honest, when you're an international entrepreneur, there's not a lot of support. Yeah. There's not a lot of people going, hey, stick it out, stick it out, stick it out. Your family wants you to come home. Yeah. So you got to be a highly self-motivated person if you're going to start an international
Especially
business.
At the beginning, like you said, that support, you don't have your network developed. Yep. There's no support system developed. And everybody wants you to come home because they think you're crazy for moving somewhere else on the globe. So that just have to be able, like you said, be able to see where you want to go and not let anything stop you. And that brings us to number 2, which is being open-minded and adaptive. This is pretty straightforward and simple just to say, you're in a new place. You have to be able to accept and adapt to everything because it's a new culture. It's not your home. You're in someone else's home. And if you don't adapt to that and how they do things, you're not going to last very long.
Exactly. That's the key aspect to this point in this trait. A lot of the people that you see go, that we've seen go home from China, it's been due to the fact that they can't handle this culture.
Yeah.
You know, they're not open to accepting it, and a lot of the things will get under their skin, and they'll get really upset.
Yeah.
Won't want to be here anymore, and they'll leave, even if they had a good business going.
Yeah.
So you gotta be open.
Yeah, a lot of people say it, they just don't get it, and that's the reason people will leave. It's not that Tim and I get everything that Chinese people do. We still don't get half the things they do. But we know they do them, and we know how to react to them, and we know how to counter them, and that's how we're still able to be successful.
Being adaptive and controlling your emotions.
Exactly.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Third, guys, high risk tolerance. I mean, risk is associated with any business you're going to be starting, obviously. But what we've noticed with the group of people that come over here is they're, on average, taking larger leaps and larger risks than a lot of entrepreneurs that, say, are still back in their hometowns, living the life they've always lived, but are also starting businesses. Obviously, the degree varies. You know, it's not always with location. But these are just, in general, traits that we see with a lot of people that will risk it all, will uproot their lives, uproot everything, move to a new country to try this business.
Yeah.
So these people, a lot of the traits that you see in international entrepreneurs are really risk-averse people.
Yeah. Let's go. Risk-averse or risk? Like the high risk
tolerance.
Yeah. High risk tolerance.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Confuse myself.
Yeah.
You confuse me too.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been that big risk, big reward kind of mentality as well, and that applies everywhere. But those comforts of like building something from your living room where you're used to, or that city you're from, is very different from doing it to a place you're not familiar with and you don't know anything about. So that's why big risk, big reward, again, cliche saying, you hear it all the time, but it's so true, and that's why we're out here. Our next point is number 4, shameless self-promoter and social butterfly. This is one of the most important things, I think, because that networking, the way you do it abroad, the way you meet new people, like we were talking about, we're all from different businesses, different countries, but there's that family, that synergy feeling to it where we're all doing it together. Even though it's not related, everybody's had the same struggles, the same trials and tribulations, and also those same funny moments and, good success stories you get. And this is just from being out there and meeting new people and seeing where that road takes you.
Yeah, I'll just say a few points on this. I think when you're looking at the successful individuals over here, the successful international entrepreneurs, there's an understanding of the value of a network. Yeah. Everybody understands that. And so I think that's why a lot of times in Asia, networking is different. Everybody will tell you networking is way different in Asia than, say, in the States. Yeah. And I think that's because there's this understanding of this perceived value of a network in countries like this, where all the individuals over here that are successful in business understand that. Yeah. Okay? To take that a little further, you do have to be open. Okay? You gotta be open, you gotta be going chasing those networks, you gotta be building them, you gotta be, a social butterfly in a sense where you're always hopping back and forth, building your networks, growing on them. And we always talk about how networking is so extremely important, and so it's not a surprise to see a trait of the successful entrepreneurs over here is they're open and they're networking people.
It's interesting how there's even people will judge you by your network. Or if you talk about a connection you have, this happened last night. We were talking about a connection of ours who this person was going to meet the next day. It was like, oh, okay. So this guy's meeting contact A. That means he's at least somewhat justified, or, because we never met him before. And then there's other, it's the same when you hear it on the negative side. Oh, okay, you're with these people. I know what you're talking about. Good luck, I guess. But yeah, there's almost like you said, there's you're judging that person's network to see where they are on that scale. So that's where the self-promotion kind of comes in, and you kind of talk about what you're doing, who you know, and they do the same, and you see what level each other are on.
Definitely. It's a way to judge. Next is the willingness to fail. This goes along with any entrepreneur. But the reason that I think, see it in a lot of these guys, especially the people at dinner last night, had all been here for different stints of time. So one of the traits that we did notice was that these guys have messed up a lot. Yeah. There's definitely a trend where if you're working in an international market, you're gonna run into some speed bumps, you're gonna run into roadblocks, you're gonna run into problems. And I would say that's almost exponential, because if you run in and have a business fail in a foreign country where you're living, okay, it's easy to feel like that's the end of the world and go, I can go home.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have a business failing in the States, it's like life goes on because life is life, how it always has been. What's next? Here, if you're going to stick it out here and you're going to be one of those guys that is a successful international entrepreneur, you're going to have this trait that you have a willingness to fail.
Yeah.
And that's not going to beat you down.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, it's all about every entrepreneur you know or have heard of. It's not like they've never not had a failed venture. Right. So very simply and shortly, it's just you learn from those mistakes and you don't make them again, and you're better and smarter because of it. And hopefully the next venture you do is more successful because
resilient.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings us right into our sixth, I guess, characteristic, the competitive spirit, which just really, if you do fail, if you do get beaten down, how willing are you to get back after it? Because if your heart isn't in it and you're not willing to, shut the door behind you and open that new one and take a big step right into that new venture, you're not going to make it very far if you're sulking and kind of down in the dumps for a long time. That's time wasted, mentality wasted, opportunity wasted that are passing you by, and you just need to get right back on your horse and say, all right, here we go, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. This trait has to be included on every entrepreneur trait list anywhere.
Yeah.
And it directly pairs with the one that we just said before, like you said, the willingness to fail, because if you just keep failing and you're willing to fail, that doesn't work. Okay? You've got to have that competitive aspect that's like, okay, I'm going to kick butt this time, and let's do it. Let's do work.
Exactly.
And that's definitely something that you see in all the people over here that have been here for any amount of time, is that resilience and competitive spirit that come back and bring them out of it and like, okay, what's next?
Yeah. It's just that, it's that fight and that hunger to be successful that will really just drive you to truly be successful.
And I would say a lot of these are extremely important over here because I would say a lot of the cycles are shorter than something back home because things are changing all the time.
Yeah.
This guy could start a business and fail it within 2 or 3 months, or it can go huge.
Yeah.
It's really, really quick turnaround. So these traits are really extremely important to be competitive, be resilient.
Yeah, especially in China, somewhere that's changing so quickly. We've seen trends come in and then they'll get outlawed, or trends come in and then Chinese make a copy and it's better and they switch brands. Or we've seen brands come in and just explode. It's just, the luck of not luck of the draw. It just depends on how well prepared you are for the market and to adjust to it.
Last, guys, is unbelievably optimistic. When you're working in a place where you probably will fail a few times, the culture might beat you down. Your network will go up and down. Everything, you've got to be extremely optimistic always from what's going on. And I would like to, kind of intertwine this with an open mind.
Of course.
You can't let a culture, especially, I think that's what I really want to concentrate on this point is, you can't let the culture and when you're living away from home, all that kind of stuff get you down. Because if you're going to start feeling homesick, if you're going to, let certain things get to you and not be optimistic all the time and not have that trait of, okay, I'm optimistic, be able to see through the cloudiness and be like, why am I truly here? You're not going to make it.
Yeah, it's if business, first of all, business is enough to get you down if you let it. And then you tack on what are you saying, being homesick, being away from your family, the small little things that really push you over the edge here in China after it's been one of those days. If you're not an optimistic person, those negativities and that negative energy will bring you down quicker than you think. And it's just straightforward. If you're not positive, forward thinking, and always trying to make the best of the situation, because we've had a lot of bad ones and rough ones over here, you simply won't be able to last very long.
Yeah, these are the kind of people, the opposites, that when you talk about what you're doing, they're like, oh man, I don't know how you do this. I can never do that.
Yeah.
Those kind of people, yes.
You never can.
Don't have the traits.
Exactly.
Okay. We would like to end up, guys, with a few different traits that I've just kind of noticed. We've just kind of noticed just generally between people over here. The first one being someone, and the people that really want to invest in themselves, they understand that moving to another country, not only will you build languages, but you'll also learn every single day, day in, day out. You'll become a different person and you'll really grow. And that's definitely an interest of a lot of people over here. It's constantly talked about. And so while it's not on our list of international entrepreneurship, continuing education always should be. But I think that's a trait that I see a lot in people over here, is they realize that the importance of moving and becoming an international entrepreneur isn't only for business, but it's also for personal development.
Yeah, the amount of growth you'll do abroad. I've grown as an individual more in these past 3 years than I did, obviously through high school and university combined, just because every day there's something new and you have to adjust and learn to accept it, whether you're gonna, reject it or retain it. It's all up to you, and you just become a much more overall intelligent individual about how to handle yourself or how to act. Really, it's really, really good overall, especially if you're an entrepreneur abroad. And then even if we go back to where we're from, one day, we're still going to have these skills that we developed over here. And that brings us on to our final one thing we noticed about everybody here: passing it on. And this is one of the coolest things about these networks and the people we've started to work with and, start to hang out with, grab drinks with, do business with. 30, 40, 50, 60, and these guys have been here 10 plus, 20 plus years. And one, they, like us, we're young and we're ambitious and we're hungry. We're everything we just mentioned. But they like pass because they see a little bit of themselves in it. And like I said earlier, that family kind of idea of, I know where he is, I know where he wants to go, and I'd be happy to help get him there.
Yeah, it's that bond. It's the, family mentality, like he was just saying. I've been in your shoes. I see where you're going. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Let me help you get there. Because there's not a lot, there's not plentiful amount of people over here that are doing what we're doing. So it's definitely help the person out that comes after you.
Yeah.
And that's a fantastic trait to have just in any aspect of life.
Yeah.
And so we really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's been a great community. It's surprising how small the community is actually out here. But overall, a very, very welcoming and supportive community. But you have to put your time in again. It's been almost 3 years for us, and people have seen we've stuck around. So that's why it's just people are always there and very supportive for us.
Yep.
Yeah. So those were the 7 traits that we believe international entrepreneurs need to be successful. Plus a few little bonus ones we also noticed and really paid attention to and come to appreciate since we're here. And we hope that, this really resonates with all of you who want to do something internationally or are doing something internationally.
Yeah, guys, if that sounds like you, then you're definitely well on your path to success.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely farther than most people.
Yeah, and if these sound like things you have a little bit of, always room to develop. We've been
always
developing these. We're still developing them, and we plan to continue to.
One of the coolest traits people in international entrepreneurship is they want to be, they want to concentrate on personal development. So you can always do it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, until next time, this guy needs to get some rest. He has a little cold.
All right, guys. I'm done.
I'm going to go have a nice American microbrew beer at a friend's place. Pretty excited.
I'm out.
Have a good one, everybody.
All right, later, guys.